Hey, welcome. In this video, I'm going to be sharing the beautiful brand new Holbein Granulating Watercolours. I'll be sharing the sets, my favourites, as well as some really interesting mixes. I'll leave the set linked down below in the description as well. I know that they are kind of hard to get a hold of, so if you want to make your own mixes, I'll leave a video linked for you at the end so that you can make your own beautiful renditions. But if you just wanted to see what the colours were and which set is best for you, then this is the video for you. Now, I will be doing a little giveaway and you can see the details for that in the description. And also, I bought this set myself. It's not sponsored, although I would be open to Holbein sponsoring me one day. I am going to be swatching them out by set. They are the bird set, landscape set, moon set, and the floral set. And starting off, I'm going to be swatching out the bird set. Now, this first colour is one of my favourites. It's in fact why I started off with the bird set, even though I don't paint animals. And this is Burke's Parrot Pink. It is a really pretty light pink that has some lovely undertones of yellow which poke through, hence the granulation. Inside it has PY159, BV10 and PR122. And I like it because it's pretty. It's got like a peach color to it, but then, as I said, as it dries, you can also see the yellow and kind of like I guess it's almost like orange tinted yellow poking through. And this is, as I say, one of my absolute favorites from this set. Now, because it does have BV10, I don't expect it to be light fast, and I haven't really checked or tested out the light fastness of these colors, but we can make some assumptions based on some of the pigments that are inside. Then this next color is Flamingo Orange, which has PR233 and PO73. This is a more fiery, bright version of this, and initially when I swatched it out, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was okay. Remember, I did this during a live stream, but I don't tend to lean towards like warm reddish kind of colors, so I wasn't sure if this would be for me. Where I feel this shines is when you actually water it down, because then it's a lot more pink and gentle, and it kind of reminds me of a warmer version of the Burke's Parrot Pink, but without that yellow, and that is why I prefer the Burke's Parrot Pink. But this is also really, really pretty. I'm adding lots and lots and lots of water to all these swatches so that we can really see how they granulate and how they dry. And I'm swatching them all on caddy paper, which is 100% cotton rag. Again, so we get a bit of a better idea how they perform. And I've also swatched them in my caddy fat book. Now, this next one is Eurasian J Rose Grey. Interesting name. It has PB29, PG18 and PO73. So let's see what it looks like. It's been a while. Oh yeah, this is really nice. I was about to say, it's been a while since I've swatched them, so they're not at forefront of mind apart from the Burke's Parrot Pink. But yeah, this is really, really lovely. And actually, this one granulates wildly. So one of the things that we normally recommend with all colors, but especially granulating colors, is not to judge them too much until they dry. You can get a good idea of what it's like here, but you won't truly know until it's dry. That being said, when you put it down, it looks really lovely, like a moody purple. And then as it dries, you'll start seeing I guess it's the PO73, so that orangey color. And it almost, I'll show you at the end, some of the colors that, resemble these, just in case you're curious. But it almost reminds me of some of the new purples that we're seeing around. Gentle reminder that if you are enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button, as it does make a really big difference. And it helps out the channel, especially the swatching videos. So this next one is the Japanese Bush Warbler Green. I feel like the names make no sense to me, but maybe it's because they are birds and I don't know them. So this has PG17, PY42 and PY43. It's interesting because PY42 is the synthetic version of PY43. So it's odd that both, not actually, maybe it's not, but it feels a bit odd that both of them would be in here. I know that some brands do mixes, like it's usually a yellow ochre kind of color. And they normally say that the synthetic version is maybe a little bit more predictable. So some brands will have both of them inside, so maybe that's why. It's an okay green. It's okay. Again, it's one that I think looks a lot better when it is dry, as opposed to when it's wet. When it's wet, it looks like a little bit of a khaki, yellow leaning khaki, muddy green, and then when it starts to dry, you start seeing some really nice variation. I feel like one of the key things about most of these granulating colors is that some of them are quite subtle, and I feel like this is one that in itself dries in quite a subtle way. The Eurasian J Rose, on the other hand, as you can see, drastically shifting, and that's why I've left it on screen, just so that you can see them changing. This next one is Peafowl Green, which is PY159, PR232, PG7 and PB15. I kind of spoke through, I made a video where I basically shared how you can make your own super granulating or special granulating colors, and the formula that I've kind of found works really well for making these kinds of colors. I feel like one of the best kept secrets is the fact that a lot of brands, like you can see, if you understand pigments, will actually tell you the pigments that are inside. Now, you won't know the ratio, you won't know the exact, type of pigment or the exact variant, but you'll know enough that you'll be able to experiment and make your own mixes if you want. And I'll leave that video linked for you because it was a lot of fun to put together. And these colors actually inspired some of the experimentation that I did, especially because when I first got these, they were really, really hard to get a hold of. Now they're a lot easier to get a hold of. Well, easier, not a lot easier to get a hold of. So I'll leave it linked for you in the description in case you're interested. But because they were tricky to get a hold of, and because a lot of the time these kind of like quote unquote special colors are more expensive, that's why I made that video, so that you can make your own really interesting mixes. But this color is absolutely beautiful. My only thing is like, why 4 pigments? But then again, if 4 pigments give you these results, is it worth 4 pigments? I don't know, but I think it's really, really beautiful. Like this is one of my favorites, because I do lean towards, well, I like pinks, I like blues, I like greens, I like purples. I guess the only colors I don't really like or lean towards are reds. And then this final one in the bird collection is Shoebill Blue Grey, and this has PB71, PB29 and BBK11, so it has a black in it as well. And actually I'm trying to think, I think it's not the darkest color, but it's one of the darkest colors in the granulating range. I'm going to get some more color so that you can really see what it looks like. Here you go. So as you may know, when I do these videos, I like to chat with you. I like to know what you like, what you enjoy. And I normally ask questions towards the ends of the video, but now I'm thinking about mixing it up. So if you're still watching, you are an MVP. It's not the end of the video. It's nowhere near the end of the video, but I am curious to know what your favorite set is. So if you already know, by all means, feel free to comment. If you don't know and you want to wait till the end of the video and let me know, by all means do. And I will also be doing a little giveaway, which I will leave linked in the description for more information. So be sure to check that out if you want to know more. And as I say, this is Shoebill Grey, which is a really nice color. It almost looks like a blue leaning Payne's Grey, but you'll see again that it gets a little bit more blue as it dries. One thing I will say is that it does feel slightly less tinted than the other colors, because I've picked up a lot of paint to just get, to really get it in mass tone. But what I do really like is that it's like the blue coming through. It's just really, really pretty. And that's PB71, which I still don't really know, haven't really seen it elsewhere. PB29, which is ultramarine blue, easily accessible. And PBK11, which is one of the special pigments that I tell you about in my granulating video. This here is the Birds set of the granulating colours. I think they are really beautiful. I do feel like these two are similar, and of the two, the Burke's Parrot Pink is my favourite, but I do like the range that you get. I love the Peafowl Green. I really like the Shoebill Blue Grey, even though I don't feel like it's massively tinting. This Eurasian J Rose Grey is beautiful and one of the really unique colors. I'll show you another color that it reminds me of. You may know, like, I kind of want to compare it to the new Rosa Gallery colors as well as the Aquarius Violet, and we'll see how similar they are. This Japanese Bush Wobbler Green is a bit of a mouthful. I think like it's a nice natural looking spring green. It does have some subtle granulation, but nothing as drastic as some of the other colors. The Peafowl Green I think is beautiful, especially because it almost reminds me of almost like a Roman Schmall ocean blue, but lighter version. And there is an ocean blue in this set, which I will show you. And again, you'll see that there's some similarities, but this is just a gentler, pretty version that again has lots of granulation. Yes, it has 4 pigments. No, I wouldn't necessarily be thinking about using it in mixes, but I just think like in terms of painting water and doing seascapes, it would be absolutely beautiful. So this is the set. Let me know what you think down below. And now let's move on to the floral set. Now we have the floral set. Starting it off, we have the Cherry Blossom Pink, which is PR233, PO73 and PW6. Now I always get a little bit skeptical when I see PW6 just because, you know, it's white. It can sometimes make colors a bit chalky. That being said, this is a really lovely color. I wouldn't say it's one that has like lots of granulation in itself, but it is really lovely, like a gentle, delicate pink. And because of that PR233, which is Potter's Pink, we do get that little bit of granulation. I would say there's not like much color variation within it, but as you can see, it, I guess, Cherry Blossom very perfectly describes the kind of gentle and lovely pink that we get, and it's definitely very much a floral color. So again, this is one that I really like. Then this next one is Trumpet Vine Red. It has PY159 and PR177. It is a really lovely color. You will see the yellow, and in fact this entire granulating range is what initially made me get the PY159, just so that I could try and make my own mixes with that interesting yellow poking through. It didn't quite work out, as you'll see in the full length video in my full length granulating video. That being said, I tried, and I definitely want to try the Winsor & Newton version to see if that will work better for me, because I just really love the fact that I can see yellow coming through, and there's not that many yellows that I know of that actually granulate, and PY159 is one that does, and you will see this just granulates beautifully. It does kind of remind me of the Burke's Parrot Pink, like it's again a warmer version of it, but I think it's just absolutely lovely, and it just complements the Cherry Blossom Pink so in such a really nice way. I wouldn't have thought of it as like floral but I like it nonetheless. Then we have Clematis Violet. This has PY159 again, PB29, which is ultramarine blue, and then PV23, and it is a stunning, bright, granulating purple. You do see the granulating bit is the yellow, so you can see the purple, but then you'll see like bits of yellow. One of the things that I found really interesting is that purple and yellow should in theory make brown, so this shouldn't, in my head it's like this should be a muddy color. I mean, I shouldn't be able to see such a beautiful distinct purple and then also have yellow, and yet somehow it happens and it works and it's fine. I was chatting away and it stopped recording, so in theory in my head I'm like, okay, with the yellow this should be brown, or maybe this should be like hints of green. I wouldn't, it's just so funny that you can have all these different pigments. You have a yellow, a blue and a violet, and yet the predominant color that you see is violet, and in fact you just get really lovely granulation. It's really fun how you can get these almost unexpected effects by mixing all these different pigments. Next we have Mimosa Yellow, which I must admit isn't actually that yellow. Instead it's kind of like a really lovely green that has hints of yellow yellow inside it. It has that PY159 again, which is the yellow that granulates. It has PB29, which is ultramarine blue, and it has PG17. And you only gently like see a little bit of blue, but primarily what I see when I look at this is just a really pretty green with hints of yellow inside it. Now, I don't drink mimosas. I don't know if this is representative of mimosas, but I know that the color itself is really nice. And again, it's one of the more delicate colors, but unique nonetheless. Another one to keep an eye out for as it dries. Following that, we have Jade Vine Blue. This is beautiful, a really, really lovely color. It has PV47, PG7, PB15 and PW6. One of these colors that like has so many pigments. It has a white, so in my head automatically I'm like, oh, is it going to be nice? Is it going to be chalky? Is it going to work? But it works. It really does work. And it's funny because most of the mixes that I have done when it comes to creating my own granulating colors have been two, max 3 pigments or colors, whereas these, as you can see, a lot of them just have lots and lots and lots of pigments inside, which again just opens up the realms of possibility in terms of the kind of colors that you can make yourself. And it's one that is predominantly blue, but you'll see that as it starts to dry, you see like really big hints of the purple. Then we have Equinox Green Grey, which all these names are, I find them to be such a mouthful. This has PB29 and PG17. So initially going down looks like a greeny grey, but we'll see how it dries. So almost like a really pretty color for like a stone or something. It's not necessarily what comes to mind when I think of florals, but it's kind of nice that each set thus far has, you know, a range of colors. So it's not like this set is all pinks or all blues or all greens. Do you see what I mean? They've all got variation and character. And this is the floral set. It's so funny. When I look at it, I don't immediately think of floral. I think apart from Cherry Blossom Pink, that's the only one that really screams floral to me. And maybe Mimosa Yellow because of like the really beautiful leaves. So I feel like these two would work really lovely together. I could maybe stretch to say Trumpet Vine would also be a really lovely color for florals. But then the others don't really say floral to me like at all. Like they're pretty, they're really nice, but it doesn't scream florals. Next, we have the landscape set. This first color here is Pampas Grass Yellow. It has PR233, which is Potter's Pink. It has PY43, which is like yellow ochre. And it has PY83, which is like a really lovely warm yellow. And you see all of that reflected in this really beautiful color. Now the granulation in this one is kind of like subtle, so it's not like you're getting lots of different colors poking through, but instead what you see is almost like variations of yellows and orangey kind of colors, which I really like. I tend to lean or, you know, prefer warm yellow kind of colors because I feel like you can use them to make really lovely peaches if you want. You can make natural looking greens with them if you want, and so I just feel like they're so variable and pretty, and this is no exception. So it's a very, very warm yellow. Then next we have Twilight Purple. This is PV47, PR233, so Potter's Pink again, and PO13. I must admit I don't really know what PO13 is, but this is again another really pretty color, and you'll see there are quite a few pinks in the granulating range, which I find unusual. Like I'm happy about it, but it is unusual because I feel like there aren't that many like granulating pinks outside of Holbein, not to say none. But, you know, when you think about granulating colours, or when I think about granulating colours, I automatically think of blues and greens and maybe even like interesting purples with bits of pink inside them. But I don't think of like lots and lots of pinky colours. Whereas I find that this Holbein collection, like the whole thing, the 24 colours, quite a few of them are like pinky red kind of granulating colours, which is quite nice because it's different. It does mean that some of them look kind of similar, and we will see, like, I'll bring them together so that we can take a bit of a closer look later. But I really, really like this color as well. Basically, I feel like I'm quite, you know, it's quite predictable, the kind of colors that I like. I'm consistent in that instance. Do I think it's landscape? No. But do I think it's beautiful? Yes, I do. That to me would make more sense as a floral color. But anyway, we move on. This next one is Daybreak Orange, which is PG50, PO73 and PR254. So again, this is an interesting one, like really, really interesting one, because the way that it granulates is wild. When you put it down, it looks like, I don't know, it almost looks like a caput mortuum, like a warm version of it. And then as it starts to dry, you just see all the other colors, namely PG50, making an appearance. So again, another one to really keep an eye on. It's one that I also don't really know how to use. I guess this one would make sense to me for landscapes, just because it has so much variation, and it's like one of those colors that almost does the work for you. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on that one, and I'll show you all of them at the end once they've dried so that we can take a bit of a closer look. Next one is Wonder Forest Green. It is PY43 and PG50, and because I tend to like blues and greens, it's probably no surprise that I also like this. I do find it interesting the way that they've put the, you know, the collections together, like the 4 sets, because it's almost like, I don't know if the intention was that you would get one set, and that's why I'll show you towards the end, but it's almost like, you know, there are quite a few colors that are similar, but they've split them across sets. Really, really beautiful. I find that what I like about this is that it's almost like a light, gentle version of an ocean blue, or like a green leaning version of ocean blue, and you see it more when it starts to dry and granulate, because you'll then see like lots of yellow coming through, but it still has that green teal look to it. Really, really pretty one. It's one of my I feel like I can't say that about everything, but it's one of my favorites. It kind of reminds me of a toned down version of Peafowl Green. This next one is a beautiful, beautiful color. It is Ocean Blue, which has PY159 again, and PB15, which is Phthalo Blue, and it is so lovely. I feel like the name is actually apt and makes sense. It's just a beautiful granulating ocean blue. The bits of yellow inside it actually to me look green when they come, you know, when you see it like separating out, which just makes it look so lovely. It's one of those colors that just does all the work for you, and it does kind of remind me of Roman Small's Ocean Blue, but I will let that dry, and you can see the yellow coming through. Yellow or green, depending on how you see it. And then last but not least, in the landscape set, Nightfall Indigo. Now this has PG50, BV7, BV15 and PB60. Automatically, when I start seeing B anything, I'm like, okay, this color won't, you know, this color's not going to be light fast. More likely than not, it will fade. But that being said, let's enjoy it while it is here. I'm not going to lie, like this has a lot of pigments in it, but it's probably not, I wouldn't say like this is one of the best colors in the range. It's a little bit underwhelming because it has, I don't know, I can't explain it. It just looks like, it almost looks like a slightly different version of an ultramarine blue, and there's no ultramarine blue inside it. Like, I don't know, you tell me what you think at the end. Like, you can kind of maybe with the eye of faith see a little bit of purple, but I feel like in Danthrin Blue is such a lovely dark deep blue, which we don't really see here. PG50 is such a lovely granulating color that again we don't really see here. I don't know what the BVs look like, but normally you would think that they would be like bright and fluorescent, and you don't really see any of that. This just looks like a middle of the road blue. And of all the beautiful blues that we've seen in like other granulating ranges, I feel like this is probably the most underwhelming color in the set. No shade. This here is the landscape set. You tell me whether you think of it as landscapes or not. I must admit, for me, I don't really see landscapes when I think of this because there are like no earth tones, and there are so many other granulating colors that come to mind when I think of landscapes. That being said, it's a pretty set with I feel like it's an okay set. I feel like the standout color is ocean blue in this set, and then I really like Wonder Forest green. So these two colors I feel like really stand out. This one granulates like no other color I've seen, or maybe does it granulate like lava? Like it's a unique color, so I'll allow this. I think they're all nice. I think that they are all nice, but I feel like if I were to look at the other sets, then I would maybe lean more towards the other sets, but I'll show you the rest because we have one more set to go. Now we have the moon set. So this very first color is Earth Shine Violet, which I think is really lovely. It's PB29, it's PR177 and PR122. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful purple. There are quite a few really nice purples that granulate in this range. Super. It does kind of remind me of, I guess, a mineral violet or imperial purple. Is it imperial purple, mineral violet? You know the one that I mean, like the purple leaning color that has PR122, like the pinky color coming through. And I feel like this is essentially the sister of it because it has the two pigments, the PB29 and the PR122, and then it has, in addition to that, the PR177. So it's a really, really lovely color. I think Daniel Smith has a similar color and Roman Schmore has a similar color, but I think it's really lovely and one that you can actually quite easily mix yourself if you want. Next we have Rainy Night Moon Black. I'm a fan of the colors but not the names. I'm like, I don't know. This is PB29 and PR101, which is an interesting mix. It tends to make like nice grays, and that is essentially close to what this is. Only that sometimes it's one of those colors that varies quite a lot. So sometimes to me it looks like it's leaning a little bit more blue, and sometimes it looks like it's leaning a little bit more brown, but it's a browny neutral leaning grey. And one of the beauties about looking at the sets and looking at the pigments is that now you know that if you take PR101 and you mix it with PB29, you can make this really lovely color, and both of them are usually in like beginner sets or quite easily available and quite affordable as well. But it's really, really nice. And this to me would have made more sense in a landscape set, or I guess it can make sense in a moon set as well. It will make really lovely rocks. Whoops. It will make, let me add some more. It will make like really lovely rocks or cliffs or, you know, interesting shadows, just because of all that granulation and change that it has. Moonlit Night Blue, which is PB29 and PBK6. And this is beautiful. I tend to like dark moody colors, even though I don't always use it that much in my art. No, actually I do. I tend to, not this color in particular, but moody dark colors I tend to mix with others to just make like interesting shadows and, you know, variation. And this I just think is beautiful. I feel like it's the equivalent of a blue leaning Payne's grey in this set. Is just stunning. And again, so easy to make. This is why PB29 Ultramarine, it can be so underrated, but it's just such a good color. You get so many beautiful mixes from it. It's like everywhere. It granulates. It's just a, you know, the color that just keeps on giving. And you'll have seen it's been mentioned in quite a few of these Holbein colors because of that. So I think this here is the darkest color of the Holbein granulating range, and it is stunning. Really lovely blue leaning Payne's grey looking kind of color, and I just think it would be beautiful for shadows. It's nice and simple. It only has two pigments inside and it's just stunning. This next color that we have is Hazy Moon Yellow. It has PY159, PBK6, PB15. This color I'm not a massive fan of. I'm going to swatch it because, you know, for the sake of completion. But to me it just looks like a yellowy grey, and turns out I don't really like yellowy greys. I like blue greys, I like brown greys, warm greys, but yellowy greys, greeny greys, not really my bag. It does granulate, so you do see like the yellow separating out from the rest of the grey. But in terms of like, if I had a limited selection of colours to pick, this wouldn't necessarily be, no, this wouldn't be it for me. But I guess it depends on what you like to create. But if you can think of a good use for it, let me know. I do think this does kind of feel true to the name in that it does look like a moon color, a color I would expect in like a crater or something, but it's just not that exciting for me. And then we have Full Moon Yellow, which again, not a massive fan in honesty. It's like, yeah, it's a dirty yellow to put it short. It has PY159, PY42 and PBK6, so I guess the color should be no surprise in terms of it being like a muddy yellow, because it's yellows with black. And it's not that it's a bad color, it's just that I wouldn't again go out of my way to get it, I feel. And then we have Lunar Eclipse Red, which is BV7, BV15, PY110 and PR122. This is a fiery color. It's actually quite nice. Although when I see BV, I instantly think like, okay, it's going to fade. But, you know, while it's here, let me enjoy it. I wanted to try and be like super quick with the swatches. On editing, I guess I'll see how quick I actually was, but I just wanted you to actually be able to see the colors as a whole in the sets and just be able to make an informed decision on which set is best for you. I kind of feel like the dark colors in this set, like this Moonlit Night Blue, stunning. This Earth Shine Violet, again, really beautiful. I do think if you already have something similar to it, you wouldn't necessarily need it. But in the moon set, I feel like Moonlit Night Blue, feels like such a mouthful, is my favorite of the set. It's funny because when I look at the full set like this, it's actually really tricky for me to pick favorites, because I kind of feel like, oh my gosh, they are all so pretty and they're all so nice. And that was why I really wanted to be intentional and actually swatch them out by sets so that you can see the similarities, especially between Bird and the floral set. I also feel like I should say that Holbein originally, one of the first impressions that I had from the set themselves were that the colors were beautiful and they didn't granulate like at all. This is one of the first swatches that I did in one of my early on videos as well, if you're interested. And I just really loved the colors, and at the time I really didn't like granulation, so I actually really valued the fact that they didn't granulate. Even the ultramarine blue didn't quite granulate. So these colors are quite unique for the range themselves, because up until now they were just doing really uniform, non-granulating, smooth, maybe is a better word to describe them, colors. And I feel like they are really beautiful. They also weren't afraid to use BV colors, so you know, fugitive colors that would fade. They weren't afraid of using multiple pigments, and that wasn't necessarily something that I would see as a strength in terms of like mixing, because the more pigments you have, the more, in theory, the higher the likelihood of getting muddy colors. That being said, I never had muddy colors with them. It was just something that I had in mind. So here are some smaller swatches. So this is the Bird set, this is the floral set, the landscape set and the moon set. And initially when I looked at the Bird set and the floral set, I actually thought that they were very similar. It's almost like they've recreated the same version of a set. Like you have two pinks, a purple, a green color, a blue color and a gray color. So when I'm looking at these two sets, I'm just seeing like a lot of similarities and crossover. I would argue that you don't necessarily need both sets, and if I had to pick a favorite amongst the two sets per se, I would probably pick the Bird set. I kind of feel like the Burke's Parrot Pink is nicer, the Flamingo Orange is brighter, the Eurasian J Rose Grey, although I hate the name, I think it's like at least an interesting purple that's slightly different to what you would normally get. And I think the Peafowl Green is beautiful. The Shoe Bill Blue Grey again is really beautiful. I like all the colours, but I feel like they're so similar that if you had to pick one set, at least you would know that actually these two sets are really, really similar. And then we look at the other set. So when we look at the landscape set, again, kind of similar in terms of the fact that you get like a pinky color and then, you know, the blues. I feel like the Ocean Blue and the Peafowl Green are also kind of similar, only that the Peafowl Green is like a lighter version. And then you have the moon set, which is actually quite different to the other sets, I feel. I'm not massively overwhelmed by them. I like the Moonlit Night Blue, That's my favorite color in this moon set. But that being said, when I look at the set as a whole, I do like it, and I do feel like it's cohesive, and I do also feel like it's different in the sense that there's quite a few, like as you can see here, 5 pinks that actually granulate and are really pretty, and that's quite unusual from the other granulating colors that we've seen from other brands. I do also think that the dark colors are really beautiful, even though they are similar, and the blues again are really pretty, and the full set in their beautiful glory. I feel like if I start naming them, I'll be like, yeah, and I like this and this and this, and in the end I'll have just talked about how I like all of them. That being said, I thought it might also be helpful to see some other colors that are a little bit similar. So the first thing that kind of comes to mind is the purples. I feel like the purples we've kind of seen before. This reminds me of something similar to Rose of Ultramarine or Mineral Violet, or you know, like that kind of color, PB29 plus a red kind of color. So this is Rosa Gallery's Violet Quartz. This is Roman Schmall's Mineral Violet. This is Moon Earth Shine Violet by Holbein, which is this color here. So this was me experimenting back in the day to try and make my own version of Rose of Ultramarine. So this is Rose of Ultramarine here. So this is Mineral Pink by Roman Schmall. This is the new Holbein color, the Earth Shine Violet in the moon set. This is Roman Schmall's Mineral Violet, Rosa's Violet Quartz, Daniel Smith Rose of Ultramarine, and you can see that they are all very much in, and this is Roman Schmall's Mineral Violet again, so you can see that they're all very much in a similar kind of family. Other colors that might be worth comparing or thinking about, quick fire comparison. So these here are the Holbein colors, and these are colors by other brands, just so that you can see them. So this is Rosa's Violet Quartz, this is Roman Schmall's Mineral Violet, Rosa's Nightfall Violet, Aquarius Violet, and I kind of, with the eye of faith, thought that this resembled the Rainy Night Moonlight Black, which is this color here, or the Eurasian Pink as well. I kind of thought they're all quite similar. And these are the new pinky red colors in the range, and I think that they are absolutely beautiful. That being said, I wanted to put them together so that you could see that they are quite similar. So it depends on how you want to use them as to which one would be best for you. But like this one, which is Twilight Purple, for example, which for me is a pink, has hints, tiniest hints of purple coming through. Burke's Parrot Pink almost looks like a little bit more fluorescent on the edges and has hints of yellow coming through. The Cherry Blossom Pink has probably the least granulation amongst all of them, and it's just like a nice pink with slight hints of like a darker pink inside there. Flamingo Orange has hints of like orange on the side. Floral Trumpet Vine, beautiful. It looks like a reddy version of the Burke's Parrot Pink, so it just has that little bit of yellow poking through as well. Then these two are probably like different in terms of the fact that Daybreak Orange, which to me isn't an orange, has red but has, I guess, like purple? No, green? I don't know, like a purpley grey greeny kind of colour coming through. And then Lunar Eclipse Red, again, this to me looks, you know, like it's like an orange with hints. It's like a deconstructed orange. So I can see red, I can see yellow, I can see orange and maybe like hints of pink inside it as well. But these three here are probably the most similar, but I thought that it would be helpful for you to see them all together as well. Bluey kind of colors, I think that they are beautiful. And this has some range, not a massive range, but some range in terms of like the different colors. You can kind of see similarity maybe between Peafowl Green and Ocean Blue. I feel like they're distinct enough that it would be worth having both, but that being said, they are similar. These two are maybe similar in hue, with the Moonlit Night Blue being darker, but the Shoebill Blue, they are both absolutely stunning. The Nightfall Indigo, I'm underwhelmed by it. It looks like a non-granulating standard blue that has hints, tiniest hints of purple inside it. These two I think are beautiful. This I think is lovely because you can see, and that's Jade Vine Blue, you can see the like bits of like pinky purple coming through in the blue as well, so that's really nice. But these are the blues that are included in the set. This is Roman Schmall's Ocean Blue as well, just so that you can see what they're like. So you can see more of the like yellowy green color in Holbein's version than you can in the Roman Schmall version, and also the hues are slightly different. So although they're both PB15, the Holbein version is lighter than the Roman Schmall version, but both absolutely stunning. And maybe this would also, yeah, this should also be here. This is Wonder Forest Green, which again I feel like is similar to Peafowl Green. It's almost like this, you know, like they are gradient heading, like more green, more blue in between, but all beautiful. The final kind of colors that I am seeing are kind of like, you know, the yellowy greeny colors, which is interesting because usually when you see the granulating ranges, there's just so many greens and so many blues that granulate, but in this set there isn't that many. It's only 5 out of 24. This I think is really lovely. You can see the tiniest bit of that pink coming through, but it actually looks more like a darker orange, so it's just like a really hearty, pretty warm yellow. The full moon yellow I'm underwhelmed by. I'm like, okay, it's cool. It's not a bad color, but it's not the most exciting color. Here, I don't know if it's a question of it being a little bit too washed out. But even here, actually, in every swatch that I have done, it's not the most Tintin kind of color. It looks like a nice, almost like a buff titanium. That's what it looks like a nice yellow leaning, warm buff titanium. But that being said, it has 3 pigments inside it, so you know, you might as well just use buff titanium and add the littlest bit of yellow to get a really nice color like this. So that's full moon yellow. Then we have the Japanese bush wobbler green, which is a nice green in itself. It's like a nice khaki green. Then the mimosa yellow, and I know initially I said when I was looking at the sets, I said that I preferred the mimosa, but looking at this bigger swatch, I'm not sure which of the two I actually prefer. I don't know which I prefer. I think the bird set is my favorite set, basically. And then the hazy moon yellow, I'm not that pressed by, to be perfectly honest. If I had to judge the sets or rank the sets, I would say that the full set is beautiful, and I'm really glad that I have it. That being said, if I were to look at the sets of 6, the bird set would be my favorite. If not that, then I would get the floral set, although I wouldn't necessarily need to get both. And then that would be followed by landscape set, and last the moon set. If I were buying individual colors, which colors would I get? That is a fun question. Okay, I finished struggling over the question nobody asked me to answer, which is like looking at my favorites from the set of 24, and I'd say Burke's Parrot Pink, Trumpet Vine red, Pampas Grass yellow, Shoebill blue grey, Equinox green grey, Peafowl green. I hate the names, but I like the colors. And then these would be the like colors that I would be considering. However, I appreciate that they are quite similar to the colors that I already have. Unfortunately, they are spread across the sets. So these 3 are in the bird set. This is in the floral set, and landscape set. Now that, my friend, is the Holbein Granulating Watercolours and my opinion of them. If you want to make your own mixes, then be sure to check out this video next. Bye and God bless.